ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Joey Stephen again from the Pollens Studios here in beautiful Cambridge, Ontario. A 12-minute video is a must-hear for foreign nationals who plan to sign up for the Hello Canada program offered by two Canadian corporations in partnership. Right? The Pollens Limited is a Canadian immigration firm, and the Student Herald is a Canadian recruitment firm. Immigration is a life-changing experience, and so does partnering with an immigration firm who can legitimately represent you with Canadian employers and the Canadian government. This video is exclusively for foreign skilled workers, skilled and unskilled workers, and deals with what to do after you sign up for the Hello Canada Immigration Preparedness Program with Pollens. Your first obligation is to evaluate your eligibility for the permanent residence and prepare yourself to be immigration ready. Okay, get your credential evaluations done, get your IELTS course ready, and get all your documents ready. Some of you may not even may have many issues with documents, some may not. For example, some of our clients have difficulty in obtaining their birth certificate or even getting their police clearance to some countries. Once you are immigration ready, that means once you have collected all these documents and get your requirements done, then pay for the resume critiquing. Resume critiquing could take up to 10 days. Once resume critiquing begins, you will be called by the resume critique from Canada. You will discuss with him or her your job responsibilities, and you will come up with a immigration ready resume which will not contradict your PR application, job titles and job description. Both these tasks are immigration related. Please keep in mind that resume critiquing does not mean a resume is designed and provided with an out of the universe layout. No, we are not talking about resume designing. We are talking about resume critiquing to meet immigration requirements. Okay, so and if you and for some reason you distribute the resume to Canadian employers, and the employer shares your resume with the Canadian Immigration Department for whatever reason or whenever, it should be a sound resume with matched NOC code, titles and descriptions. Now you can use your resume with all Canadian employers because they can clearly understand your job responsibilities, and if they pass it on to the immigration department at some point, it may not impact you or your application. The fees charged is for dual critiquing. Okay, one before applying for Canadian jobs and the other before submitting your permanent residence application with the Canadian Immigration Department. Now, let's talk about complimentary service offered to Pollens clients. All Pollens clients can convert their immigration registration to a Hello Canada registration, which costs around $200 more than the regular immigration registration. Okay, this additional fee is to handle the change of office from your local overseas office to a Canadian office where costs are higher. When you are a Pollens client and when you have done your credentialing, we will use that resume to look for jobs. The Student Herald will include your resume and promote it to designated employers who can provide an offer letter leading to your permanent residence. For RNIP, let us just convert the term designated employer title to any employer in the smaller towns where RNIP program is approved. Under the AIP, that means Atlantic Immigration Program, or the RNIP, that is the Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program, you need at least 1 year of related experience, and if there is a job that is matching or related to your experience, your Student Herald team will attempt to promote your resume with that employer, and if it is selected, the employer will schedule an interview. This interview must be taken in a professional way with appropriate clothing like a suit or a shirt and a tie, or just a business shirt depending on the type of position being applied to. Do not attend your interviews with a t-shirt or casual dress. The Student Herald representative from Canada may schedule a meeting with you to discuss the interview and the requirements if they have the time to do so. Okay, or they will send you an email detailing about that interview which has been scheduled with the employer. If your home does not have a suitable environment to have that interview, these interviews are done online. Okay, so if it does not have a suitable environment, please discuss it with your local Finalizing support team about alternatives. Please keep in mind, it is not Finalizing's responsibility to find you a place for you to participate in a job interview, because recruitment is complimentary and we are not charging for it. The first interview with an employer usually is conducted along with the employer and your Student Herald representative. Okay? They may also be in the interview as well. If you are selected, then one of these three things could happen. One, you may be rejected by the employer and you are likely to know the results pretty quick, possibly in a couple of days. Two, you may be selected by the employer and you are likely to know the result in a week's time, and the employer will need further details to apply for the work permit. 3. Sometimes the employer may want to screen you more and schedule a second interview. If the employer conducts more than one interview, all interviews after the first interview will be between you and the employer, the applicant and the employer. If you are not selected, okay, it could be the third thing, you may look forward for other opportunities which could come up. If you are selected, then the employer and Finalizing would begin the application for work permit. This process could take around 3 months, and once the work permit arrives, it must be stamped in your passport, and your travel to Canada, and you must travel to Canada as soon as possible. Before you leave your home country, Finalizing will begin to start your PR submission preparations, okay, your permanent residence submission preparations. You are required to do that within 3 months, okay, of your departure. Your permanent residence application must be submitted, and the processing typically takes anywhere between 6 to 8 months based on the current trending. Keep in mind that the PR visa is for the whole family, and your family can join you pretty quick. Some of you ask if you should take your family when you go on a work permit, and it is possible to move with your entire family after you go on a work permit, but that depends on how much you are willing to spend. It is not cheap to file for a spousal work permit and TRVs for your children. Because PR is quick, you may want to rethink about taking your family on temporary status on a work permit. The AIP and RNIP programs are a boon for foreign nationals with lower CRS scores in the express entry, and also with those with lower IELTS scores. Once you are selected, the employer with the possible assistance of Forensics, would obtain clearances for the work permit. Forensics will then request for your travel documents to apply for the work permit authorization to be stamped on your passport, and we collect our representation for that purpose. The job involves providing your passports and the work permit approval of the employer to the local Canadian post authorizing your travel to Canada. We do not charge fees for the work permit which the employer has to apply and obtain from the government, but we charge a representation fee to represent you with the local government to get the work permits linked to your passport. At this time, you will be asked to deposit the permanent residence representation fees into a trust account of the immigration firm Forensics. This money will be used to apply for you and your family's permanent residence application as soon as you land in Canada on a work permit. Care must be taken to ensure you are immigration ready and your documents are ready to be filed for the permanent residence application for the family. If you are married or with a common law, your spouse and kids can join you when the family obtains the permanent residence. Okay, we will then apply for permanent residence with all your documents, and it takes about 7 months based on the current processing trending to obtain your permanent residence. And once you obtain your permanent residence, we will prepare you for Canadian citizenship application, which we do after 3 years based on the regulations at that time. Okay, you are aware that in foreign countries, Canadian work permits and visas sometimes are sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which are based on illegally obtaining or buying a visa and are operated by unscrupulous foreign companies in partnership sometimes with Canadian entities. This is against the law, and the Hello Canada program is not, let me repeat, NOT, not based on guarantees. You pay us for the immigration work done, and the selection and processing are based on actual employers seeking out international workers based on your skills and qualification. We do not charge any fees for employment related expenses, which is borne by the employer and handled by the student herald, and it is complimentary for Forensics clients. And your temporary or permanent Canadian visas are based on various immigration programs offered by the Canadian Immigration Department, and your selection is based on eligibility for such programs. We thank you for watching this video. Immigration is a life-changing experience, and so does partnering with an immigration firm who can legitimately represent you with employers and the Canadian government. Please do not use this service if you are here to buy a visa. You are in the wrong place. We wish you the absolute best for your endeavor, and hopefully with all our efforts we can see you as a Canadian permanent resident soon, and thereafter a Canadian citizen possibly. We hope to be part of your Canadian adventure, and we will endeavor to assist you in the best possible way. From all of us here at the Forensics Studios in beautiful Cambridge, Ontario, adios, and wish you the absolute best.